Gary Cain, welcome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, no problem, man. I'm flattered you thought to include me in your series here, man.
That's awesome. You're the new boy on the block in fusion chops, and you are going to teach us the secrets of hybrid picking. And I love your style. I love all the twang stuff you do. It's just kind of like that fast rockabilly shit mixed with the Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Danny Gatton, but just the technical approach, the right hand, and all that stuff. How do we start? I mean, where's a good place to start working on some of incorporating those two fingers into that kind of linear style?
Well, the basis of that stuff comes from banjo rolls, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So the fundamental stuff you can do, just kind of mindlessly practice to a metronome and stuff like that, are just the two basic things are a forward roll and a backward roll. So that is just, I'm using my pick and then middle finger, ring finger. And so if you take the top or bottom three strings, I guess, you're just going pick down, middle finger, ring finger, as simple as that, as a forward roll. Mm-hmm. And then when you come back,
B-note thing, pum, pum, pum.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then coming back the other way, a backward roll. I never really do fingers going backwards. I find it really tough to get my ring finger, then the middle finger in there. It's easy going forward, but tough coming back just because of the way the fingers get in each other's way. So I usually do an up pick for that. So it'd be ring finger up down for the So it'd be like this, ring finger, then up, down.
Ring, up, down. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay. So, wow. Okay, so so a 4-note thing going up and down would be pick, finger, finger, up, down. If you're trying to notes.
Yeah, like that. Or I was sweeping it there, sorry. That kind of thing.
I see. Okay.
Now, the other way you can do it, too, is with a forward roll, is a lot of times I'll sweep the first two with a pick and then just grab the last one. So it'd be down, down, pick. Like that.
I see.
And so, I mean, this whole thing started with just trying to solve a problem, which was that I found it really tough to cross strings with...
one note per string.
Yeah, it's tough. And I'm not really a good alternate picker. So I remember seeing an interview with Danny Gatton where he said he did hybrid picking because he sucks as a alternate picker, which I kind of thought, I bet she's probably killer. But that's the same situation for me. And partially my alternate picking is probably atrophied because I just never do it really much.
Okay.
But, yeah, so it kind of started with those, the Stevie Ray licks that that kind of thing, which starts with that Chuck Berry thing, right? That thing. He was constantly going across those strings, and I found there was a speed limit on doing that with picking without using my fingers. So what I started doing was just using this kind of sweep hybrid.
So the way you would play a lick like that would be down, down, ring.
Yeah, so I would go down, down, ring, and then coming back, I would go up, probably pull off, and then back down. So it'd be like that.
Okay, so down, down. Yeah, that's not how I do it at all. Man, I have to think about that a lot. Then down. Oh no, up.
Yeah.
So after, that motion of I could see how that works. If you're going because you're sort of peeling the wrist up when you're going with to make that ring, and then you're catching that same motion for the upstroke.
Yeah, exactly. Because your pick, I mean, it kind of saves you a stroke on the pick, but the pick still has to move into its next position, right? So that's why the coming up with the up pick on the way back sets you up to start again with.
Yeah, so it's I think the practice would be not making that a big motion to where you could still catch it on the same upswing.
Yeah, that's one of the tricky things is keeping your fingers within range of the strings, because when you're picking, I think you pick similarly to I do, at least for your alternate stuff, which is that you're kind of doing this kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, you can see your fingers end up all over the map.
Yes.
So it's kind of like trying to like hit a baseball while standing on top of a moving platform, right? Like it's really tough. So you kind of have to just make the motion of your pick work with your fingers. So when I'm going down there and then my fingers are picking, they're kind of like almost pulling my hand down, right? Because they're walking forward like that. And then to get myself back, I have to do an up pick to get my pick back down into position.
I see.
So that whole thing for me would be like that kind of thing.
I love the sound you get from the guitar. Like I love how like acoustically clear it is. Like I'm always like impressed with that in your videos. Like everything's super articulate with the pick.
Yeah, and well, so the other thing I should mention is that so on your right hand, it depends what you do with your nails too. So some guys, like especially a lot of Nashville guys too, will have longer nails. And so my nails have just gotten shorter and shorter as time goes on. I used to have longer nails, and then I had a gig like on this first song in, I put a string right through my nail, like it went all the way through sideways, and that was a tough gig for the rest of it. So I kind of vowed that I would learn to do it without that, because I snap the strings off the neck a lot of the time, right?
Just to pop them to get better together.
Yeah. So it's percussive because and that kind of comes from like the Stevie Ray imitating Albert King thing, because Albert King played with his high string, E string on the top, like upside down, right? So when he was playing, he was popping that thing like crazy. And so Stevie was trying to imitate Albert King. So when he would do like, right, or so that kind of stuff, or like Albert King would do that on one note. So he'd be like, right? Like with a two-step bend there. So that's why I almost always when I'm doing that Stevie kind of stuff, snap with my finger, pulling it out and snapping it against the guitar. So like instead of getting the pick attack in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it just has a lot more of that that bite.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Yeah. So the disadvantage with that is that you really can't pick a note. Like you can't really use your fingers on a string that's already ringing very effectively, because for me, the pad of my finger hits the string first, right? So it would mute it.
I see.
So it doesn't
it starts when you're attacking the string. It's sort of like there's a little moment of just dampening happening.
Yeah. So pretty much every time I use my finger, it's the first time that string's being struck in whatever. Like I'll do legato stuff where like I'll hit but my finger will start it off. But to play pick note and then a finger note, that works well if you have the nails, because you got a hard edge that kind of strikes and goes off the string. But mine, it's kind of like, it's like the flesh hits it and then it plucks it. So
yeah, so that's what makes that sound not really work.
Yeah, and the thing is, like if you're I'm primarily like a blues player, I guess. So if you play hard and like funky stuff and snapping stuff, the nails just won't work, I find. And so that snapping stuff is really handy. But so even there, like I can do it all. I'll do it on all the strings, like that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, which I love to do. That's fun.
Can you walk us through a little bit of like when you do those twang videos? Can you just play like a few bars of a thing like that you're sort of improvising?
Yeah, like that. That kind of stuff.
That's fucking cool, man. That's what an electric guitar should be.
Yeah, so I mean that stuff is I don't know if you know a guy. Do you know Tom Quayle?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I kind of looked at how he was doing his legato stuff, which is similar to how I approach it, which he's using a finger and pick just to start your next string. So you pick once per string when you're doing that stuff. And when you're going this direction, generally your finger leads each time. And coming back, the pick will often lead. So, and the scales I'm using there basically is a mixolydian, but I'm using some chromaticism around the minor third and the flat five. So the bluesy shit, right?
Right. So like you're walking the 2 to the 3 and you're walking the 4 to the 5.
Yeah. And then of course there's the kind of, when I hear Oscar Peterson play blues and he's always doing like that kind of thing, So there's all that chromaticism there, or like if I'm in E there.
So that's like the distance between the flatted third and the fifth, just like gap.
Yeah. All those notes are fair game pretty much.
Okay.
And then I use a lot of those inverted sixths, or inverted thirds, I should say, like the brown-eyed girl,
Sure.
that stuff. And I connect them chromatically. So I'll use a lot of pull-offs too. Like an E is a great key for that, because you've got, say, and then I can, right? And then, right?
Cool.
And then, because that's a group of three, if you put 3/4, it kind of doesn't sound as patterny, you know?
Mm-hmm. And what like, how do licks like that work out in time? Like, what kind of
So
stuff?
like, it was like 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. Exactly, 3/4, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So just okay, like 16 note. But it's cool, like where it's sitting in time. So yeah, it just keeps flipping around. Cool.
And then connecting those chromatically, right? Because any shapes that are the same, you can connect chromatically. So I can go, so like, right?
Ooh, nice. Yeah, mine's that dog party. Scott Henderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it goes, but that's awesome.
So,
So for the people at home watching, there's going to be a link below to our Patreon. You don't have to sign up for the Patreon. It's just we're using the store feature there. And Gary wrote some licks with the picking, guitar profiles included. All money goes to him. And let's walk through some of the examples that you gave there. Do you have any of those?
yeah, I got the tab here, and I hope I remember my own licks here. But
Yeah. Let's not screen share, so people are still incentivized to buy it. But
sure, yeah.
let's just use those as like as just examples of like how to build this technique.
Sure. Well, the first one starts off with a thing that I learned from a Danny Gadden thing, which is a total banjo picking thing, which is this lick. That thing, which is just your hammering on.
Nick, isn't this cool? So cool? It's so cool. All right.
What's going on there? Another pattern that's it's super fun to do, but a lot of the country guys, especially, they'll ring out like a fretted note and then an open string, right? Because it's like a false fingering type thing where it makes it sound like you've got motion happening, but it's not. So that is just hammering on from like the blue note up to the 5, so flat 5, 5 and E, and it's just doing that twice, like that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to kill my delay here. 1 second.
Oh yeah.
It's not helping me. When delay fails. Okay, cool. All right, I'm with you.
So it's 2 hammer-ons, and then it's the top string with your ring finger.
Okay.
And then just a forward roll with the 4 and then 2 open. Like.
And it's both downstrokes on that hammer-on?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Typically, like your pickup selection for these kind of sounds, I'm guessing you're doing some out of phase stuff like position 2 or 4.
Yeah, the back out of phase, so bridge and middle.
Oh my God! Can you play it? How do you?
Oh yeah. So
I want to be able to do that. That's so much cooler than Holzer. That like sounds good on the guitar.
And you can do it non-open if you want to stretch your hands out like up there, right? Because I'm just barring on the A there. That kind of thing.
What? Does your pick have a tip?
Yeah, it's just a Dunlop 88.
Do you find that tips help this kind of sound?
Like, do you mean just like the regular, like the sharp end, or
the sharp end? Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard lots of guys talking about using the butt end of their pick and stuff, and like there's some kind of mythology around. I think Steve Ray Vaughan did there or something. I tried that once and I thought, man, this does not work for me at all. Like I need you know.
Yeah, because it's like I hear the snap. It's so like I play with like rounded edge picks, which but I'm not get like my sound, especially like I've always found that like I play rhythm with like a clean tone, but I never solo with a clean tone. Even like you helped me set up like my FM9, my digital stuff that I use for the content, and it's really hard for me to solo with your lead tone.
Yeah,
it's really hard because it's like it makes everything pop, like that kind of clarity that you're able to get. Like for me, yeah, I mean, for like my touch, it's like I need a completely different thing, but like I totally get where this is going. When you build that kind of technique,
I should say like mine is rounded. Obviously, it's just a Dunlop, so it's not like sharp tip.
Oh, no sharp tip. Okay.
No. I tried. I don't have any here, but I tried these picks called Attack Stealth or something like that. They sent me some. I think they would work for a lot of people, so I don't want to badmouth it, but it didn't work for me.
Oh, okay. So I take back everything I just said.
Sorry, no, I thought you meant just like the.
Okay, so you just get the sound because you just.
I generally pick pretty hard, even though my hand's not moving a lot. I'm usually putting a fair bit of force into the string. So.
Okay, cool. So can we just play? Can you play that like, I guess, bridge the technical gap between where I'm able to do it, which is about here. And like that blasting thing you were doing, like what's it look like when you were building it up gradually? I just want to see the motion. Like what would that look like in a medium tempo? Like Okay, cool. Because it's like where the downstrokes are landing in time is interesting because it's like
yeah. I think that's like the kind of the key is the syncopation and working time against time is really the key to making it sound good, because when you hear somebody play fast and they just do like it's like, and so you're like, okay, well, you can hear the sign, like the signpost of where the rhythm actually is. They're just they're tapping their foot and triggering a chain of notes, and they tap a foot and trigger a chain of notes, right?
Right.
It's boring, right? It's duh, duh, duh.
Yes.
So when you learn these kind of things, I always found that once you get under your fingers, the key is to practice it at a subdivision that isn't the same as the phrase length, right? So once you get the 3-note thing down, like if you get like you want to put it over 16th notes or like quintuplets or whatever you want to do.
But you're always creating a polyrhythm.
Exactly, yeah, because then you'll be able to use them in time, because once you get going at speed, you'll end up putting yourself on the wrong foot if you just learn these things like within their own rhythmic cage kind of thing.
Yes.
So that's where it's like when I get going and like the phrases kind of start spilling out of each other, it's just because I've drilled the polyrhythms of these over and over and over. So
yeah. I mean, I think for many people, like that distinction between grouping and subdivision, grouping and speed, is like not really clear. So it's like you're saying, I mean, if I'm paraphrasing what you're saying practice these things as groupings and then be able to execute them over different speeds, right? So it's like if you have like a grouping of 4 notes, do it as triplets. If you have a grouping of 3, practice it as 6.
Yeah. And the way that I practiced doing that was a couple of different ways into that for if people have trouble with it. One thing is just, first of all, offsetting it within its own subdivision. So if you have a lick that's 3 notes long and you practice over triplets, right? So if you do that, like, that's great, and you get that. Then you want to try it so you can practice it starting the thing on the next triplet, right? So you'd be and then the other one would be, right? So you've got all 3 versions of starting the note in each one of triplet. And then being able to cycle between them. So it just means that you need to play the triplet, and then throw in quickly one thing that is either 1 note shorter or 1 note longer.
It just displays. Yeah, I remember there's like the original like Scott Henderson video like from the 90s when he's wearing the pink shirt, not the one with the Jufro, when he has like I know Richie hair. Yeah, that's the most handsome Scott.
He was a lady killer for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he definitely actually killed some. But yeah, it's he was talking about like, I remember like seeing it he was using like this like Like the pat, like do you like take a 4-note phrase, just add one, double up on one of the notes to like make it slide a subdivision.
Yeah, and he's actually one of my inspirations as far as taking that approach. I kind of took an approach like it's like the rhythmic rudiments, almost like a drummer would do on guitar. Because like Henderson's stuff with like his I don't play exactly what he is, but like on the diminished stuff, like that kind of stuff, like it sounds interesting if you can mix up the rhythms. And so if you learn like everything and like here's my grouping of 3 and I can move that around the pattern, here's my grouping of 4, if you put those together you've got a 7, you know. And so where the phrases starts moving around in time, because you're not going 4-note groups over 16ths at a time, right? So,
and I'm certainly hearing a lot of that in your playing like that, especially like the 3s and the 4s, right? Like Cool. All right, so what's the next lick we're looking at?
So, okay, and just to finish that one off, so for instance, like a great way to practice that is if you've got like, that one is this. But that's like, yeah, just those kind of things. Mixing
that. When you're doing a thing like that, it's like you're going ring up, down, ring up.
Ring down. So when anytime I do like a pick or with a finger thing and then a pick, it's almost always down. It's mechanically a lot tougher to go ring or to go finger and then, it's tougher to go up and then hit a finger afterwards, right? Because your hand's traveling this distance or this way.
Yeah.
So down pick, fall there. So, yeah.
So can you play that pattern slowly, like you were going?
Which is 5.
Now, in terms of like where you're actually picking, does it tend to be in like right around like the middle pickup?
It is, and then the bane of my existence on a Strat is the fact that this middle pickup gets in the way of your fingers. So I kind of unconsciously move around a little bit to avoid grabbing that middle pickup.
Yeah,
I think maybe why tellies don't have a middle pickup is because you can pick on them way better. But but I'm basically over top of the middle pickup, and then you just have to kind of stack your fingers so they don't stack up vertically on the strings. You kind of have to splay them out a little bit. So if I were to exaggerate, your pick is forward, and your fingers each kind of come.
And this technique tends to be like palm on the bass strings.
Yeah, my palm is pretty much always there, and my pinky kind of rests against the pick guard. Not like really bracing, but yeah, my heel of my thumb of my hand is kind of against the E string on the bridge, and I mute with that.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think I conceptually get it. Now it's like I'm gonna need like 9,000 more hours, but yeah, awesome. Real different for me, for sure. That's awesome.
Okay, so to do that full lick, so that was the first bar of that thing. Is it just it goes. Sorry. Whoops.
Holy fucking shit.
So
what was that?
So it's basically blues scale stuff, right? And a lot of like.
It didn't sound like blues scale. I heard some chromatic stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of So one of the things I did there was I did that kind of thing. Yeah,
and that's a hammer-on, down hammer-on, ring.
Yeah, it's down hammer on, ring.
It's always ring on the top string. You wouldn't use your middle?
Pretty much. I just find that once my pick gets down that territory, it's awkward for me to move my hand. There's nothing wrong with doing it the other way. The other thing is that if you use your middle finger, your ring finger is kind of wasted. Like it's not really there to do anything.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's down hammer on, ring, down, pull off?
Actually, I do an up because I'm headed the opposite direction. So it's kind of like a thing you just have to drill both ways, because if I'm going back this direction with either my finger or pick, I'll down pick so that I have that. But if I'm going this direction, either with a pick, usually with a pick, I'll up pick so that I'm in position for the next thing.
It feels good to do. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then that thing is just, and then just blues scale, like that kind of thing.
So cool. Okay.
And then this kind of a thing, which is the pattern for this is picking kind of down finger, where you do this. Right?
This is which fingers? That's middle, right?
Middle, yeah. The stuff that happens in here for me is mostly the middle finger. The middle finger basically just does the top for the most part.
But when you're playing adjacent strings, like two string, and so it's gonna be pick and ring only when you're playing the B and E string, but every other string set would be pick. Wow. Okay. I don't know, that intuitively feels right, but it's hard to explain why.
There are exceptions. A lot of times what I'm doing is I'm picking the G string and the E string, and so that spread allows me to pick and ring. If I'm picking on the B string and the E string, a lot of times I will use the middle just because they're closer together and it's too much of a squeeze to get my ring finger in there. So it's really just a matter of figuring out what's comfortable for your hand and then systematizing it unconsciously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that dynamic I might not overuse it. I overuse everything I do, I think, but that thing which is right.
And that's a pull off?
Yeah. Yeah, and so that blues style thing that I do is rather than walking it down, I hit the B, and then it's hammer on, pull off real fast, and then it's hit with my middle finger, is with the ring.
That's awesome. Okay, can you walk us through that descending part slowly?
Sure. So skipping the banjo thing at the beginning, it's right. So yeah, exactly. And then
that's down, up.
Yeah, down, up, down. Yeah.
Is that the chord? Just like a double stop? Or diminished?
Yeah, diminished. Or E7, whatever.
Yeah. Like a D diminished. Okay, so. But it has that thing. That's awesome. Dude, I need to practice. Like, I feel full-blown artard mode right now. Just
pretty good, actually.
Thank you. The 50 BPM range is where I shine. That's awesome. I actually, with the Holdsworth stuff and like all this shit people are teaching me, I'm always like, that would be awesome to practice like one day, but like I don't have any like emotional connection to the sound, honestly. After that, I'm like, we were just doing like 3 days. We had like an awesome like little mini tour, playing great shows, playing with the Marvin stuff. And I was like, I kept thinking about, because I do this with a lot of players now where they're like trying to like, offload on me their way of thinking.
Right.
And it's like fusion guys that like play all this out shit. And I'm like playing one of our songs. It's just like an F minor vamp and just playing my shit. And like musical ideas come to me in like a flow that is not verbal. It's like, I see shapes or I hear sounds and I'm just like, go here, do this thing. And then I noticed the Holdsworth stuff. It's like a complete verbal command. It's like, you should apply mode.
Yeah.
Fuck them up. Do it. You know it will start it from the flatted seventh. You know you can do it. Just like shut up, dude. Like,
well, yeah, I don't know if you've had this happen, but sometimes some of that stuff, because I got into a bit of like, hey, I want to play this outside weird shit. And I would practice it for hours and hours and hours, and it never showed up live. Like, it just never showed up.
It has nothing to do with that kind of music.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff that will show up is stuff that is like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you're a painter and you learn how to like make a new tree, and then you're painting a forest, so it might occur to you, it's like, oh, I'm going to use that, like, you know, because it's related. But then it's like, this is like anal beads when you're painting a forest. It's just like, yeah, I don't know about that one.
That's actually the title of my new album, Anal Beads. But well, it's funny though, because I find that like when people especially try to learn this stuff, like I teach lessons sometimes, and the people really struggle with sometimes getting it to speed. But I think the thing is that one thing that really helped me was I started watching a lot of videos and content on neurology, basically, and how like your brain actually works learning stuff. There's actually a woman on YouTube, Molly Gabriel is her name, that she's a violinist and she's a neuroscientist, whatever.
Okay.
She's got cool content on there. But one of the things I figured out doing this is that people kind of view it that I have to learn how to play. And it's not really the way it is. Like, your conscious brain is not what learns to play. Your conscious brain is what teaches whatever's going on underneath the surface to play, right? Mm-hmm. So you really just need to design drills and focus on the things that you need to learn. But it seems like a tall mountain to climb when you say, I have to learn to do this. And it's like, well, you don't have to learn to do this. Yeah. You have to figure out all the drills. And then when you go to play it, you don't think at all, and it just comes out, right? Because like people always ask, how do you think so fast? It's like, I don't. Like, if I start thinking about it, I fall. Like, everything.
Yeah, you know? Of course. No, it's the roboticizing of the body to just carry out commands. Yeah,
and then whatever's running that software underneath there, it makes choices about what's going to come out. So you can sit there trying to load it full of all kinds of crazy out there shit, but if it doesn't like that or doesn't, you know, with whatever's going on, then it just won't come out. So well, yeah, but I think if I were, you know, not to make this about me too much, but like, you know, if I were in a very different environment, like New York City or something, where people would give me like, you know, nice like response to that kind of thing, I think more of it would start emerging, because I am very influenced by my surroundings. But since like the only person listening to me intently is like, well, minus the audience, who I don't care about, but like, you know, just joking, I do care. But Dani, you know, like if I play some Holdsworth thing I learned, he just like, he gives me like this look that's like, like complete disgust. Like, just like he does this thing with his mouth. It's like, it looks like he just fed him something very bitter. Yeah. Just like shakes his head like, oh, and then he's like trying to make eye contact with Nick, like, check out this fucking idiot. And like, this is all while I'm playing, so it feels really bad to try things. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I'm just gonna go with whatever ending up in your playing. That's you, and then you just kind of be happy with it, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not. Yeah, I don't. I want to be you though. I'm right. Somebody else. All right. So what's the next thing we're learning?
Okay, so that just as a way to drill that one thing, which is that, right? That kind of thing, which is just.
Okay. How does the picking work here? That's middle.
Yeah. And then if you do that run down, that would be up, down.
Oh my God. And in terms of the fingering, you're flattening?
Yeah.
I can't. Doing that up there feels so crazy to me. Is that the pattern?
Well, except you're going down, down. I would do an up, down with the pick on the very last two. Yeah.
Oh. Wait a second. What would you do? Can you do it?
Yeah, you just did it. So, like, so last would be.
close to? Am I approximately where you are in terms of the right hand positioning?
Yeah, pretty much exactly. Yes.
Are you more in between? Like where does the pluck land in relationship to the middle pickup?
Almost right directly over it. Yeah.
Because here probably is too spongy of a feeling. Oh, we should mention that the guitars are tuned to E flat.
Yeah, that's always good.
If people are getting fucked up on the tuning. Okay, but the pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
7?
No, there's no second. So the last one you would start with, I guess if you repeat the pattern, it's that last note is actually your first note, really.
Oh!
Because sometimes I won't go down to that. I'll play this string twice. So it'll be... that kind of thing. So you can go to either one, right?
Oh my God, that is such a brain fuck. I don't know why that's... Just getting that to be an upstroke, not a downstroke for me, throws my whole game off. Okay.
So you can practice that really easily. Like for instance, on a pentatonic scale is great for it. So like, I would use my ring finger because it's the top string. But like for instance, if you're doing that one, which is just.
And that's always going to be ring finger for you.
Yeah.
Man, that makes so much more sense ergonomically. I'm trying. Okay.
Yeah. Now you can do a sweep off that too if you want to do like you're about to seem like you're about to do like where you do like right like that like which is just like a ring and then sweep up right.
So that's ring up, slide down, or slide. Awesome.
Yeah, and then your pick can be in position to hit the root. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. It's so articulate.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Shit.
So I mean, eventually the challenge is that you kind of have to practice in bursts, right? Because you can kind of like it's like your brain can only fire once, and then it needs to kind of reload. So there's two ways to practice it. One is just get it smooth so you can do it over and over again smoothly. But you also have to practice in a burst so that you can get it down.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like Sesame Street where they connect the words, bring them closer together. Same thing. You do a burst. Take a breath, do a burst, and eventually those bursts come closer together, and eventually it's just one long.
A loop, yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay. Let's skip the next example so people are incentivized to find out on their own. Maybe just play through it without explaining it, and then yeah. So let's do that.
Okay, sure. Lick 3.
Lick 3, just
all right, cool. That's actually from a tune of mine called Twang-Shred, which is basically my train beat tune that I kind of just
sick.
Yeah, I usually close shows with that and just kind of go hog wild on it for like as long as I can, so it's fun. And so that is just this, which is that's the first one, right? Which is it's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's this. And then it would go to the A after that.
You not like that for time?
So,
That's nice. What is that last chord?
it's just it's an E with a sharp 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just that try the 5.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
That's in the pack for anybody interested. And also, you do teach, right? You teach.
Yeah. I teach lessons. Yeah.
All right, we will have your a link to you for people who want to study this style one-on-one and get their brains rewired.
Yeah, I can also show you how, I think it's in one of the licks too, that I do something similar to that, where if you incorporate that dynamic we just worked on, which was that, right? you can throw that in at any point when you're going scalar, and just kind of throw that in as a little jog to break up your linear line. So for instance, I would do it like, right, or whatever. That kind of thing, right? So instead of just going up, I would do, right? And
Yeah, so you have these groups of 6 just like all over the middle of your line. It's just like,
yeah. And so it jogs where the phrasing is.
It's gonna take me forever to make that. My brain do it as an upstroke after that. Yeah, I definitely. After that block, I'm just so accustomed to making that a downstroke no matter what. I see how that, for me, that's the technical bit that I just don't have mechanically memorized. Well, I will do it and become a beast like you.
It's just a matter of the reps, man. I'm sure you seems like you got it like 80% of the way there.
I mean, yeah. I have everything but the skill.
And so that one of my favorite spots to do that in is like, for instance, if we're in E, just for sake of E's here. So if you know this E7 here, like, yeah, there's a 9 there. So if I'm in this position where I've got like, as in like Mixolydian, right?
Just like a C shape kind of thing.
That and then this basically. So what I'll do is I'll play around there, and so that kind of pick, and then this is where I will use the middle finger on the top string. So I'll break my own rules here, I'm sure. But sure. Where I will do pick this thing, this will be that kind of thing. But then I'll also throw this note in. So right, that kind of
sounds very muted. How are you getting that sound?
Yeah, that's just kind of with the left hand. Yeah, it's just kind of like I kind of just I press it down, but not all the way a lot of the time.
So you're getting a little bit of like a dead note, almost ghosted kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a fun one. So you can change which note is on the top, right?
And you're just basically using groups of 2, just alternating like note on the B, note on the E string, but like 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, and then sometimes I put in a hammer on, which would be like, or right.
Oh, I see.
That kind of thing, yeah.
Okay. And if you're going it's like down, up, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. It's pretty rare that I would do a down pick when I have to then travel this way with my hand or with my pick, right? I'll always up pick so I can get into the next spot.
Great. This is just gold. Okay.
So I can show you one more, which is just as you want, but this is actually a lick from a tune of mine as well, which is called Crazy It's the Head, but it's this, which is like that. So, and that's just basically the octave thing there. Like, that kind of thing.
And that's pick, middle, ring?
Ring, yeah. So I'm just doing, well, sorry, actually, I'm actually using an up pick for this. So I'm using my ring finger and the pick mostly in that one. So it's pick down, ring on the top, octave, and then the middle octave is up.
Ooh. Okay. That's like the basic rhythm, just
yeah.
like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have that distance to travel, where it's like this far, I find like what's the angle of the up pick with the ring?
What you see there, that's what I'm thinking about, just like that.
A very small kind of up, right? Not a big pinch. Are you sort of leaning on the middle pickup with that finger waiting?
No, it's against the string. It'll sit on the string sometimes. And then if you want to replace that top note with the flat 7, then I would probably do it with the middle, which you.
Oh my God.
I could do the 5. I could do both fingers and do the 5 in the root. A little sloppy there, but.
Oh, you're using it as a double stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're gonna do it pedestrian tempo. So. I'm sick of humiliating myself on camera. Okay, and then we said we can do the double stop. Okay, so what's the actual head, like, or the riff in your thing?
What I did was it's is that?
Oh my God, it's like a Facebook relationship. It's complicated.
So I put it at the top there. So it's kind of an ambitious one to try, but it's fun.
Well, so here's the first couple of notes. What happens after that?
So what I do there is
Okay.
Yeah, like that. So again, I'm going to break my own rule here, but I actually do a down up pick with a pick. So it's like finger down up and then down.
Finger down up. I see why. Okay. Okay.
And then there's that hammer on it. Yeah. And then I got
something like that. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It ends with just okay. So it's
I can imagine that when you get that up to speed, it feels pretty satisfying to play. It's
fun. It's actually it's like a super fuzzed out synthy tone too, so it's kind of badass. But it's fun. It's, when I get it right, if I fuck it up, it's a little bit of a So, and the end of that thing is actually a dynamic you can kind of work on, which is just doing.
That kind of thing?
Yeah, just I'll pick that last pick on the octave there.
Oh.
Up, down. Yeah.
Sick. Totally sick.
Yeah, I like throwing in like just like hitting a root note either on the bottom string or top string in the middle of a lick like that, because you can reach it with your pick with your finger, right? So it kind of is like right? And it just kind of gives us like a really wide spread in your note.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna have to move down to Texas too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm coming to Chicago. It's too cold for me.
Yeah.
As a
You're from
Canadian.
Canada, aren't you?
I know, but man, I'm acclimatized now. I don't want to go back to the cold.
Oh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man. That's the end of our lick package, right?
Yeah, I think I got 5 in there, so we covered like parts.
That's amazing, dude. Amazing. And dude, thank you so much for doing it. We're gonna link to your music, to your private lessons, and to purchase the package. You know, it's really been eye-opening for me. Like I am sincerely going to practice this. This is right up my alley. And also just identifying the thing, just, you know, your mechanical patterns and the difference between what I lean towards makes so much sense. Like I understand why every time I try to like incorporate this kind of hybrid picking, it would never generate flow, because it's like those upstrokes to kind of reset when you're going that way. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it's all about just making sure you do it in a way that gets you in a position so you can move to the next thing without having a, you know, a hiccup.
Yeah, amazing, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Gary, and we'll do this again soon, I hope.
Yeah, anytime, man. It's fun.